Alright, thanks for watching. Now, I recently returned from my trip to Mallorca, Spain. If you guys want to check out some cool pictures from that trip, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Real Merkabah. Now, one of the things about this trip and traveling to Spain and, just traveling around the world, going to different countries, one of the things that I really started to realize is how much we don't travel. How much the American dream is only meant for Europeans, for white people in America. And I say that because we are not able to basically, experience the American dream because of our situation, because of poverty, because of oppression. And I know it's like big things that everybody talk about, and a lot of people are so tired of hearing us talk about, oppression and racism and everything like that, but it's real. And it can't be denied, especially if you are an objective person, if you really pay attention to your surroundings. And one of the things that you see when you travel is the lack of black people traveling, especially to exotic places, especially to Europe. And one of the reasons for that is, just some people are just fearful of leaving America, black people, because they don't know how they'll be accepted or received in a foreign country. And something go down and you get in trouble. A lot of people don't think the government will be there for us in a foreign country. So a lot of people like to stay local in America, travel, to close places. But one of the reasons why we have to travel, one of the reasons why we have to go to Europe, we have to go to these other countries, is to stake our claim. Is to really put out there about the true history of Europe, Asia, Africa, what have you. A lot of these countries that we have history and that we inhabited and ruled and controlled before European conquest, and Spain is no different. We know the Moors ran the country for hundreds of years, and there's a point you'll get to in history where everything cuts off as far as European rule, European domination, and you have African rulership or black people ruling, black people in authority. You have whole entire systems in place ran by African people that people have absolutely no clue of. And I talked about this in the Buddhism DVD, how the people in India have no clue about the caste system and how Europeans, put this caste system in place to separate the people, and how they're watching their own people starve, and millions, hundreds of millions of people living in poverty, poor, sick, starving in India because of a system that Europeans set up that they follow. So it makes you think about the ruling people in a system like that. Why would you allow your own people to go through such, tragedy, because of a separatist, caste system or class system, which we have in America? When you look at the system, as I explained in the video, it's sick, it's crazy. How could anybody who claimed to be civilized or have any morals, which we'll get into in this video, do such a thing? So, and being in Spain, I was basically the only black person there, it seemed like. In Mallorca is just beautiful. It's one of these tropical type islands. It's just a vacation heaven that you go to, and it's everything you can name, you can do there. You can parasail. You got the beach, you got clubs, you got good food, you got a lovely atmosphere, but it was just full of white people. Occasionally you see some Asians. The only black people you seen there was Africans that was selling fake Louis Vuitton bags. That's it. And it was like in little groups and pockets everywhere. And it was set up to a point to where it seemed like this is all that they're given. And it's crazy when you see that. It's like, okay, every time I see my people here, they're selling fake Louis. They're trying to sell me fake Louis. And it's like, what is it? Can they get any other kind of job here? Why don't I see them in any other type of capacity besides selling fake goods? So now you have to really think about the type of picture that paints on the minds of people in Mallorca. Young kids that's there, when they only see white people everywhere shopping and vacationing, and the only black people that they see is selling fake bags. And it seemed to be a nuisance because everybody who they're trying to sell to or tap on the shoulder and get to sell bags to, a lot of these people was just, no. Mallorca, if you're there vacationing, most of the people there was rich people. They had money, could probably afford the real thing. But, it's weird. It just seemed like it was set up for them to just be there and just sell only fake stuff. And, it's kind of crazy to see that and, it felt funny, it felt weird. And I was waiting to probably experience some type of racism while I was there, but thankfully none of that happened. Everything was cool. People was cool. They just was having a good time. And a lot of people hear that Spain is supposed to be one of the most racist countries in the world. Not so much in certain places, definitely, but not so much in Mallorca. It's just a lot of people go there on vacation and they don't really want no drama. And they figure if you're there on vacation, you probably got some kind of money. Being on the beach and being the only black person out there, I mean, it's weird. And I was like, damn, we need to travel more. We need to get out there more and make ourselves seen as if we matter, we exist, that we are not poor, lazy people, that we're cultured, that we go out, that we understand. Because the more that we stay in America and not travel, the more we give away our rights to these countries. And now you can look and see with the Moors having such a rich history in Spain, you can see they're trying to change that. You can see, just like I was trying to show people about the Andaman tribe and the Buddhism DVD I was showing you before. Anybody who does research, you're seeing this. You're seeing it happen before your eyes. If you do research a lot, you remember what it's saying in books. You remember what it said online when you checked. So when they change that and you go back and see that it's changed, it's like, what's going on? So with the Andaman tribe, of course, now they're trying to say they didn't come out of Africa. So now with the Moors, they're saying that they wasn't black. They're not even mentioning the black Moors. They're not mentioning the fact that Moor means black. They're trying to make it as if the Moors were Arabs, Muslims. And that's how they're trying to change it into that. And then it's crazy when you see pictures of a Moor, it's black. They're trying to completely erase it and make this face of a Moor a Muslim Arab. And this is something we got to pay attention to. So we're not going to these countries and saying, well, wait a minute, this was our country before y'all took it, before conquest. We have history here. You have a lot of Latin people there, people from Spain, people who grew up there and think that, my history starts here and my people being here for hundreds of years, don't realize, before your people took this place, it belonged to us. So when you go back and you start visiting these countries and making yourself seen, Greece, predominantly white, you see a bunch of white faces there. Everybody knows Greece, African, black people was there. Same thing with Rome. You go back and look in ancient times, they'll tell you, no way in the world, when you describe a person from Greece, so-called Greece, or Rome, nobody would say that they was white. Everybody just knew, well, wait a minute, these people are black people, African people. There were black rulers in Rome. So if we're not going to these places, and I commend everybody who has traveled and have been to these places to say, hey, this is not a fucking white country. This is not a European country. We keep calling it European, giving them the country, giving them the land when it's ours. And I know that's just something that we used to doing and saying European, but we got to kind of sort of start to break ourselves out of that and say conquered land, or just kind of change the name, or just be mindful that when we say European, now European. Remember that it was once African, was once our land. That's proven scientifically and historically that we can prove this stuff. So you have a lot of people traveling to these countries and they're proud because they believe that their heritage started there, that their roots begin in these countries, when we have to make it known that no, you guys are conquerors. This was our land. And I make that note to a lot of people who I meet that's Egyptian. A lot of people, I'm Egyptian. No, you're not. You're an Arab. You just was born in Egypt. You was born in Kemet, but your family are invaders, conquerors. If you want to call yourself that, that's fine, but understand the true history. Like we say African American, because we have to accept that name. We have to accept African American because we don't know what it was called before that. But we got to understand, well, wait a minute, we was here on this land long before any so-called America. So let's establish that first, and then you can call me whatever you want to call me, but understand first, this is my people's land. So we need to travel more. We need to get out to Europe. People need to see these places and know the history. Again, if we're traveling, if we getting this information, this is why I put out so much information, DVDs or what have you. If we getting this information and we understanding the history, and we're going there to visit, we break our neck for Kemet. Everybody gotta go to Egypt. Egypt is black, 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 but we give away the rest of the world, and we gotta stop doing that. And I realize not everybody can travel. A lot of people don't have the money and the means to see the world, but you can still, educate yourself and get the history and understand what took place around the world in countries that's really belong to people of color, African people. So one of the things that I always think about when I see stuff like that, because it's not just in Spain, it's a lot of countries that I've been to when you see, the predominantly white people everywhere, tourists, vacationing, having fun, enjoying the land. And it's like, we stuck in the system where we can't get out and do that because we in a rat race, we in the system. So the system is designed for us to just, okay, well, if I end up having enough money to take a vacation, I could do it by myself, but I really can't afford to take my wife, take my kids, for us to go and, have a family vacation in a foreign country. That's a lot of money. And most of the times when people get that kind of money to spend, they're not spending it on a family vacation. They're paying off bills or buying something that they need. And again, that's by design. So it's one of those things where white privilege comes into play because their ancestors had the time to set up vacation homes over there and, establish wealth and, generational wealth, and they have the money. They've been able to go to good schools and they grew up right without being in an impoverished family, and they went to a good school, got a good job that they can, vacation 2 times a year and go see the world and take their entire family and stuff like that. This is where that stuff comes into play, and it's almost like it's by design because they can go and experience the world and be in places that's beautiful and tropical and not have to worry about, black people being there just like them. I put out a video before about will they change the history books, will they ever change it? So much information has been coming out, proving, so many different things about the accomplishments of African people. The fact that we was here in America, well, they're in America, and so many things that we did in, royal families before any European family and stuff like that. Will they change the books? And of course they won't, because we can see they're slowly changing and covering up our history. So we got to write more books and put books out. We got to, understand that real history before it's gone. And, we got to collect that proof and have it. So, 10, 20 years from now, our children is not arguing with somebody about, the relevancy of African lineage in Spain or in other countries. So, we just have that proof and it's right there. Boom, here it is. Because the Europeans is not going to have any proof. They're going to have some stuff written in the book that they're going to try to make you accept. The proof won't be there. The proof is there for us, and we got to really embrace that and learn it and accept it. So now the full extent of what I'm trying to warn everybody about is basically, it has happened already here in America, because the traces of African or so-called Native American history that was here before, the colonists came over is almost completely gone, wiped out. And we can't really go back and look at exactly what, black people was doing here, how the civilizations looked. We can only look at, depictions, drawings, and, some cave art and crude cave art. So we don't really have that picture painted of what was here. So this is why the debate is ongoing about America. This is why a lot of Europeans don't want to accept that we was here first. But we can go to scientific DNA, we can go to remains found and stuff like that to prove, that we was here before anybody else. But, other than that, it's just so much of the right in your face information is gone, it's wiped out. So we have that same problem here. It basically happened and now we're dealing with it. Because now, they want to paint this picture of us as, them saving us from, primitive life in Africa, bringing us here to America and giving us the world. We gave you your language and now you guys are living good, you're doing well, you're doing better because of us. But, what about the, couple 100 years, 400 years of slavery? What about that? What was that shit about? So we can't forget that either, but we got to remember, that line, what took place before that, when y'all came over here and took everything. So the problem is, of course, you have that European guilt and they want us to forget about that. But, when you think about a society and we have laws, but mostly people base society and everything that they do off of morals. And, when we're talking about morals, we're talking about basically what's good, what's bad, what's evil, or what have you. Right and wrong. That's basically morality. you was right or you was wrong. This is what we base stuff off. We have laws, but laws exist in the system, and morality do as well, as I'll explain. But we kind of sort of base things off of morality. And, white people want us to just say, forget about it. It happened a long time ago. Just let it go and move on. And, we basically tried to do that. The whole Dr. King movement, civil rights movement was basically saying, hey, listen, we want to bury the hatchet. We want to just be treated equally and have equal rights. And, we didn't get that. We seen what happened. Dr. King was killed. So we tried that way of just trying to say, hey, we're willing to forget about it if you guys stop treating us like crap. We're willing to let it go and say, well, we know it wasn't you guys. We know it was your ancestors that did this stuff to our ancestors. As a result, we're here. Let's move forward in unity, treat it equally, and let's keep it moving. And this was what people was willing to do. And that didn't happen. And of course, we know the reason why. So we have so many Europeans, white people want us to just forget about that, but we can't. We can't, because we're still constantly facing the racism and the oppression still to this day. So we can't just sit back and forget about it. And, morally, when you look at how this country was founded, it was founded on wrong. So if we really want to base everything off of right and wrong, off of morality, this entire country was established off of, murder, genocide, rape, slavery. And they want us to accept that flag, which represents all these things, and just say, it never happened. Forget about it. If we accept the flag, if we accept America, we accept the oppression, we accept everything that happened to us. Now, we can't no longer turn around and say, oh, well, it happened, it's done and over with, when we still experiencing the same kind of oppression today. So it's tough to just let it go when we going through what we're going through. And then morally, you can't say anything because this entire thing was set up off of evil. So, if you're willing to accept that evil and how this country was established, then that's your bad. We shouldn't as African people. But then when you start to really think about morality, you start to realize that morality can only exist in a controlled system. It's just that simple. Laws can only exist in a controlled system, because freedom means you're free. You're completely free to do whatever you want to do. Morally, I don't have to do the right thing. I don't have to do the right thing. I don't have to follow morals if I'm completely free. Think about that. If I want to smack you, I'm gonna smack you. There's no law to stop me if everything is free. If you understand what I'm trying to say. The reason why I can't just do that, because there's a system of control. There's laws. There's a system that is based on morality. So in this system that's controlled morally, it's wrong to slap you. But freely, I smack you, we fight, so what? It's done. And this is what we have to understand. So since we are operating in this system of control with laws, rules, this thing called morality, you have the powers that be. What are they operating in? They make the laws. They control the system. So there is no control over them. There is nobody controlling the system. There's nobody controlling the people who control and created the system. So they are completely, truly 100% free, meaning they don't have to follow laws or be moral at all. They can do what they want. And the thing with morality, when we look at it as a control people, we say right and wrong and what have you. But really, you can't judge morality without understanding. Understanding is the key to really judging morality. Because you think about it, when you're walking down the street, you got a pocket full of change that you really don't need. You got plenty of money. Homeless person asks you for some change and you say no, you keep moving. Some people will say morally you was wrong. Dude, you had the money, help the guy out. And some people will say you're right. Now, the reason why you will have that disagreement is because of understanding. Some people have an understanding that, hey, this homeless guy might just be a crackhead. He might just be a wino. He want the money to get high or drunk. And the other people might say, well, this dude is probably starving. I was homeless before. I know what it feel like to be out there. Some people just have that understanding of what it's like to be out there. And they'll say, well, maybe he's just really hungry and trying to get something to eat. Whatever you decide, If you don't have understanding, whatever choice you make, you walk away, not knowing, without truly understanding. So if you gave the homeless person the change, you walk away without knowing, one, if he a wino or if he really need that money to get something to eat. You walk away without understanding. So that could come back and bite you on the ass in some cases. In that case, it is what it is. Either you just save this dude life so he can't put no more smack in his arm, or you just let somebody go, a whole day without food and maybe starve to death down the line. But if you had understanding and you knew this dude really need the money, then you would say, okay, that will help you make your decision, your moral choice. You would say, okay, well, this dude hungry, I got money here. It's a no-brainer. So understanding comes into place. Now, the problem with that is, in this society, is morality can be manipulated. It can be controlled, it can be changed. Morality can be whatever the control system want us to think it is. So now, case in point, you have Scarface. A lot of us probably shouldn't be rooting for a guy like Tony Montana, a drug dealing murderer. So you watch the movie and you get sucked into the story and you have understanding about this man's life. You begin to relate with him. But morally, he's wrong. Morally, we shouldn't be rooting for this guy. We should be hoping that he gets booked. And, but the whole time you watch the movie and you're hoping that he wins, he succeeds. And there's a lot of movies like that we find ourselves morally, against ourselves, rooting for evil, rooting for bad. So movies like Set It Off and Dead Presidents, American Gangster, Goodfellas, Godfather, the TV show The Sopranos, even Little Nicky, Lucifer, Damien, all these kinds of shows and movies we watch and we find ourselves rooting for the bad guy. I mean, watching Little Nicky is a hilarious, funny movie, and we say, hey, it's just a funny movie, but a lot of people is, feeling emotional in a good way about Satan's son, Christians even. So you can understand how morality can be manipulated, how it can be controlled. Then at the same time, you get Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you're watching that movie, and you like, run, girl, run. Leatherface chasing it down with a chainsaw. We ain't rooting for Leatherface. Why? Why we not rooting for Leatherface like we rooting for Scarface? Because the movie wasn't made. We wasn't manipulated to root for Leatherface. We don't know his story. He's a murderer. He's a killer. So is Tony Montana. But we rooting for him, and we're not rooting for Leatherface. Why? Because the movie wasn't pushed to that way. It wasn't made in a way to manipulate you to root for Leatherface. In other words, if they made you understand his story, like with Jason, what happened at the camp. The counselors was bullshitting around and playing and having sex, and the dude drowned, and now he's killing everybody. There's some people kind of sort of root for that, like get him, kill him, but morally it's wrong. So you gotta understand about morals and how they can be changed and manipulated. So now when you see how it can be manipulated, how people's attitude, how their minds can be changed to fit something else, this is what's taking place in America. This is how they're getting white people, Europeans, to look at us completely different. So now, when you paint a picture of a people in one type of way, it changes the mindset of other people who live a totally different life. And when you think about it, you start looking at the way white people live and black people live. It's almost like two different worlds. It's two different worlds. It's like they're experiencing, reality totally different from black people, and that's by design. So I look at stuff, I peep little things about how we have been robbed of the so-called American dream, how it's not really meant for us, and how so much of the history of America we was cheated out of. So I watch History Channel a lot. I'm a nerd. And History Channel is a show called American Pickers. I love this show. You have a dude named Frank and Mike that go travel around to back roads of America. People who got like farms and old shacks, and these people have accumulated almost like a wealth of so-called, you might as well say, like artifacts or junk. stuff from the 1910s, 20s, 30s, or what have you, that's worth a lot of money today. And I've never seen an episode when it was a black person. I think maybe one episode it was like one black thing, but if it was one, no more than that. But more everywhere they go, of course, it's white people. And it's showing these white people who have accumulated so much wealth in just junk. I mean, they have old cars worth, crazy money, and, bike parts worth crazy money. And it's like, we never had a chance to do anything like this, to accumulate this kind of wealth. It was taken away from us. We couldn't afford to buy this stuff. You have some people from back then who passed this stuff down, and they just got this stuff sitting around in their, attics and barn houses, thousands of dollars. You have some of these people sitting on millions of dollars worth of junk. And they're wealthy, but they don't look like that. And they don't be wanting to sell sometimes. They want to just hold on to the junk, just hold on to it. And it's like we was cheated out of that. We don't. Some of the stuff I've never heard of, never seen before, that these people have that's worth a lot of money, and we was cheated out of that. We never had a chance to really engage in that kind of lifestyle because it was taken from us. We was segregated, and we was pushed in an area where it was, poverty, where we couldn't accumulate that kind of wealth, that kind of material and stuff like that, and they was able to do that. So, watching shows like that, watching shows like House Hunters, where you see predominantly mostly white families, white people going out there buying houses, nice houses and stuff like that. And again, I see not so many black people, we're cheated, and it shows, and it's a picture that's being painted that, we're not a part of this, sort of middle class or higher class system of people, of wealthy people that's able to go out and accumulate wealth and do things. We are completely separated. And when you're looking at life that way, as white people over here, we got all this, we wealthy, this and that, and then you only see black people, and we on cops, we rapping or playing basketball. We don't have any kind of accumulation of wealth. We're on welfare, we're killing each other with drug dealers. It's a picture that's painted, and in this aspect, it's basically how they kind of sort of kept us in slavery on the plantation, doing what we're doing, killing each other, while they're able to still go and make money off of us now and live a life of luxury wealth and accumulate wealth, go travel and be successful and everything like that, while we stuck, back on the plantation. So my point in saying all this, and my point of this video, is to just get you guys to understand how, and you already know this, how the picture of us is painted in different ways across the world. And in every case, it's a negative light. And you get some people who are more understanding of Africans because they feel like, well, Africans are poor, they don't have much, they're willing to let it slide. The Africans over there in Spain was joking around with the people, and people was having fun with them. They wasn't treated, nobody treated them nasty or anything like that. They was treated cool, it just wasn't that kind of atmosphere. Everybody was cool. But still, that still sits in your mindset, this is all these people are good for. Because everywhere you went, in every different section of the town over there, were just Africans selling fake Louis. And it's like, one case, we right up the street from the Louis Vuitton store, and these dudes right down the street selling Louis. And it's weird. It's just something that stuck with me. Like, what is this? Like, what? It's almost like how you notice most Indian people either working at 7-Eleven or driving a cab. There might be a doctor. In some cases, there might be a dentist. But that's it. I mean, you don't really see too many Indian people doing much else. They either driving a cab or working at 7-Eleven. It's just how it is. And it's like, a lot of people don't find that weird. It's like, well, what's up with that? How come I only see you? And then when you start to understand the caste system, and understand how certain people can't do certain things, and how if they sent you here to make money and to bring your family over, you have to follow or take the job that they gave you under contract or what have you. So it's a system of racism that, even though a lot of people don't understand a lot of things about it, and we just think people chose certain jobs and doing certain things, it's racism attached to it, not just for African people, Indians and Hispanics or what have you. You see this stuff. So if we not taking control of our possessions, of what is really rightfully ours, and saying this is ours, and this is the history of it or what have you, I mean, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to take it, they're going to run with it, they're going to cross us out of it and make it look like we never was there and never inhabited the place. So this is the picture that they painting of us. They're painting of people of color, and we gotta recognize this. And I want, you know, people to just travel more and to be more cultured and understand history of not just Spain and so many different places around the world that African people have history in. And that's, you know, part of my job, to bring you guys this history. It's one of the things that I really want to do. I really want to get into the history before the British royal family and all these royal families that exist. It's something I'm going to do down the line because there's so much history there, but we're not to that point yet. But we got to really get this and understand it and know it, because too many people getting into these debates and they don't know anything past, you know, slavery. People say, you know, Kemet this, Kemet that, but it's a lot more history. As I put out my video that's on YouTube, the many hidden accomplishments of African people, watch that video and understand, like, we did a lot, and we set up a lot of civilizations before these Europeans conquered. And we got to remember that. We got to stay engaged in that type of information and really get it in and talk about it and conversate about it. And, you know, we flood, it's sick to me, it's crazy. We flood Facebook with so much nonsense, or we're not dialoguing about the real history. You know, African history is crazy. You know, more people talking about LeBron James and Kevin Durant, the NBA Finals and everything like that. A lot of people not really talking about this kind of stuff and talking about real African history. I love when I see on the timeline when some people, they put up little clips or just little pictures of just history. A lot of people doing that a lot more too, as a matter of fact. I love seeing that when people say, hey, did you know, such and such did such and such, or black people did this, and black people was the first to do this. We need more of that kind of stuff circulating on the timelines, and not so much of this, you know, trash. It's not really gonna benefit us, you know, as a whole. Gotta be more cultured. We gotta know more about our history. We gotta make it more known, because they follow us. And this is what the powers that be know. The world's following us. Everybody's trying to live the same culture as we live. Everybody copy off of us. They wear their hair like us, they dance like us, they dress like us, they talk like us. You can't turn on the TV and look at no kind of news media coverage of anything and not hear slang. Not hear people try to sound like us or say a word that we use, or try to use our type of culture. It's everywhere. As I talked about before, our consciousness is driving this planet. And if we don't take control of it, then, you know, we're going to keep losing. We're going to keep, you know, falling and staying in this position of oppression if we don't take control of it. So by traveling more, by doing more, and by understanding history, you know, we can begin to kind of sort of grasp real culture and grasp history and put it out there and get people to know the true history of, you know, their so-called homeland that really was once ours. But just wanted to put this video out and kind of touch on that a little bit, because it's just something that I noticed in a lot of places that I travel to. Going to Kemet end of next month, so I'll be in Egypt, finish Saturn, Satan 6, and a couple other things. A lot of traveling coming up I'm going to be doing. I want to thank everybody who bought the Buddhism DVD and who supports and been, you know, cut the prices in half, and people been, you know, buying, which is good. You know, I want people to get this information, so it will never go any higher than what it is. It'll only go lower if possible. But thanks to everybody who supported and continue to support and buy. Thanks to everybody who subscribed so far and who follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Again, at the real Merkabah, follow me. Check out some of the pictures, and you know, I'm gonna be doing most of the updates on social media and on my emailing list. You know, Merkabah at therealmerkabah.com. Send me an email so I can add you to the list, and putting out information and sending people information that way. As I talked about before, the censorship is just ridiculous now. So this is the best way for me to get information out. Rebuilding my website, trying to do a lot, and as I talked about before. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for you know, being there. A lot of people, I got so many messages and emails from people, hey, you know, because I put the pictures up on Facebook and Instagram, what have you, that I was flying out. And a lot of people, you know, send a lot of support, a lot of love when I travel, and yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you guys next video. Thanks for watching.